In the glamorous world of billionaires where fortunes are measured in billions, and influence stretches across continents, power is not only about money, but about the secrets people keep and the ones they are willing to expose. This story begins not with a press conference or a lawsuit, but with a single cryptic tweet from Elon Musk. The enigmatic and often unpredictable
2018, Elon Musk was on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. It was a meeting between two of the greatest minds coming to
politics. At the center of the storm was Lauren Sánchez, a woman who had risen from humble beginnings as a television reporter to become one of the most watched and talked about figures in the world thanks to her high-profile relationship with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, the richest man on earth at the time when Musk tweeted, "Some secrets are too big to stay buried." Ask Lauren Sánchez. The internet exploded with speculation. Was it an insult, a threat, a warning, or something more sinister? The tweet had no context, no explanation, and no follow-up, yet it hit like a lightning strike. Within minutes, the tweet was trending, with millions of impressions, retweets, and replies. People demanded answers. Tabloids scrambled to uncover any scrap of dirt on Sánchez. Conspiracy theorists suggested everything from espionage to illegal dealings, and social media lit up with questions. What did Musk know? What was Lauren hiding? And why would Elon Musk choose this moment to throw a grenade into the lives of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez? For many, the timing seemed intentional, a calculated move in the long simmering rivalry between Musk and Bezos, two men whose competition has shaped the future of space travel, artificial intelligence, and global commerce. But this time, it was personal. Insiders quickly pointed out that Sánchez had played a key role in Bezos' aerospace company Blue Origin, acting as a public face and strategic advisor for several high-profile initiatives. Her presence at space launches, fundraisers, and global summits had only grown more visible over time. Now, that presence was under intense scrutiny, with internet sleuths unearthing every public appearance, interview, and business connection from her past. What emerged was a complex portrait of a woman who was far more than a media personality or billionaire's partner. Born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Lauren Sánchez started her career as a desk assistant at a local news station, working long hours to chase stories and climb the ranks with determination and charisma. She became a household name on television, but what viewers never saw was the network of relationships she cultivated behind the scenes. According to sources, some of those connections went beyond the professional whispers of ties to politicians, entertainment moguls, and international investors began to circulate, raising eyebrows about her rise through the media world and the companies she had worked with. During the early 2000s, Sánchez reportedly disappeared from a major news outlet without explanation. At the time, the move was chalked up to career strategy, but years later, former colleagues hinted there had been drama behind the scenes involving disagreements with management and off-the-record issues that never made headlines. Some speculated that her departure had more to do with avoiding controversy than pursuing new opportunities. Meanwhile, her personal relationships often intersected with powerful figures in industries ranging from film to finance. None of this was illegal, but in the world of billionaires, optics matter. And when someone like Elon Musk suggests you have something to hide, the court of public opinion turns fast. Jeff Bezos reportedly learned about the tweet while attending a private meeting on the East Coast, and according to one source, he was stunned not only because Musk had publicly targeted Lauren, but because the allegations hinted at a part of her life he had never been told about. People close to Bezos described him as furious, betrayed, and blindsided. Jeff likes to be in control. One longtime associate said he plans for everything, but this caught him totally off guard. He was asking himself, what else don't I know? Insiders claim that Bezos confronted Sánchez, immediately demanding answers about her past and whether there was truth to the rumors. The conversation reportedly turned heated, with voices raised and emotions boiling over. Friends who were present said they had never seen Bezos that upset before, not even during his public divorce with Mackenzie Scott. What worried him most was the sense that he had been left in the dark, and that someone like Elon Musk, who he views as a rival, could know more about the woman he loves than he does in public. Bezos' team worked overtime to contain the fallout, issuing a short statement that dismissed Musk's tweet as baseless and attention-seeking, but the damage had already been done. Media outlets from CNN to the Daily Mail ran with headlines suggesting scandal, betrayal, and secrets exposed. As the story gained traction, paparazzi hounded Sánchez at every turn, snapping photos of her entering meetings, avoiding questions, and appearing visibly shaken. Through it all, she maintained a public silence. Her social media remained active with polished images of her lifestyle, But behind-the-scenes insiders said she was working with lawyers and public relations experts to get ahead of the narrative. Some of her former colleagues spoke up in her defense, calling the rumors unfair and misogynistic. Others offered more cryptic comments, hinting that there was more to the story than anyone knew. The speculation reached a fever pitch when reports emerged that Musk had fallen ill shortly after posting the tweet. He was hospitalized briefly for what was described as dehydration and exhaustion, but the timing fueled new rumors. Some even suggested he had been poisoned, though no evidence ever surfaced to support the claim. The mystery only deepened with Musk refusing to elaborate on his tweet and offering no clarification when asked directly by journalists. At a press event, when pressed on whether he stood by what he said, he simply nodded and said, "I said what I said." The internet remained divided, with some praising Musk for exposing hidden truths and others accusing him of crossing a line by dragging a private citizen into a public feud. One commentator wrote on X, "This isn't just gossip, this is billionaire warfare, and we're all watching it unfold in real time." Others pointed out the gendered nature of the backlash, noting that Sanchez was being scrutinized far more harshly than either of the men involved. Still, the questions persisted. What exactly was the secret that Musk was alluding to? Was it a past relationship, an old business deal, or something darker? And why now? Why unleash it just as Bezos and Sanchez appeared to be entering a new chapter of their relationship? Some theorized that Musk was retaliating for a business deal gone wrong. Others believed he was trying to distract from his own controversies and legal challenges. Whatever the reason, his tweet had accomplished one thing: it had forced Jeff Bezos to confront a part of Lauren Sanchez's life that he either didn't know about or had chosen not to investigate. And it had thrown their relationship into crisis mode as the world watched with fascination and disbelief. As the scandal deepened and speculation spread like wildfire, Jeff Bezos found himself in uncharted territory, not in terms of business deals or corporate strategies, but in his personal life, where control had always been his trademark. Now that control was slipping through his fingers and no amount of strategy could fix what had already unraveled behind the scenes. Bezos initiated a quiet internal probe into Lauren Sanchez's past, enlisting a discreet team of former intelligence operatives and legal experts to investigate the full scope of her business dealings, affiliations, and social network. According to insiders, this was not about punishment, but about information. Jeff needed to know whether the woman he had trusted with his heart and his reputation had kept anything from him that could become a liability to his name or his empire, especially now that Blue Origin was preparing to secure key government contracts in the aerospace industry, and any sign of impropriety could jeopardize billions in future revenue. The initial findings of the probe weren't damning, but they weren't clean either. Investigators uncovered ties between Sanchez and a now-defunct media venture that had received funding from a shadowy investment group rumored to be linked to political operatives in South America. While no crimes were proven, the paper trail raised enough questions that Bezos's legal counsel flagged the connection as high risk. Additionally, there were unverified claims that Sanchez had once served as an informal advisor to a tech firm, later implicated in a major data privacy breach. Though her role was never public and her name didn't appear in any legal filings, the implication was enough to spark concern. And while Bezos had once seen Sanchez's high profile and media savvy as an asset, now it looked increasingly like a liability. Worse still was the revelation that a former partner of Sanchez had been quietly reaching out to journalists, hinting that he had a story to sell, a story that would link her to influence peddling and corporate lobbying efforts that bordered on unethical. The story had yet to be published, but several reporters were already circling the details, and the threat of exposure loomed over Bezos like a ticking time bomb. Meanwhile, Lauren Sánchez was fighting her own private battle. Sources close to her described her as heartbroken and confused, insisting that she had always been honest with Jeff to the best of her ability and that her past was being weaponized unfairly against her. She reportedly broke down during a tense meeting with her legal team, saying through tears that she never expected Elon to do something like this, and that whatever bad blood existed between him and Jeff should have stayed between them. Friends say she felt like collateral damage in a war she didn't start but now had no choice but to survive. And yet, for all her emotions, Lauren refused to back down. She began assembling her own team of advisors, including a top reputation manager, a crisis communication strategist, and a media lawyer with experience in high-profile celebrity cases. Together, they mapped out a plan not only to manage the scandal but to reclaim the narrative, a plan that included exclusive interviews, controlled photo ops, and curated social media content designed to shift public perception from scandal to strength. But as her team worked around the clock, her relationship with Bezos remained on shaky ground according to one source close to the couple. They were barely speaking except through intermediaries, and even then the conversations were tense. And business-like, the intimacy that once defined their connection had been replaced by doubt and mistrust. Jeff had become increasingly isolated, spending more time at his compound in Beverly Hills and turning down public appearances that just weeks earlier he had enthusiastically accepted. When he did emerge, he was visibly thinner and unusually guarded. Reporters who caught glimpses of him described a man preoccupied, distracted, and no longer the confident titan who once walked into any room knowing he was the most powerful man in it. As for Elon Musk, he remained mostly silent on the matter, continuing to tweet on unrelated topics like Mars colonization, XI, and the latest Tesla software update, as if the entire firestorm he had created was just another Tuesday for him. But those close to him said otherwise. One inner circle source revealed that Elon was aware of the chaos he had unleashed, and that he believed he had done the right thing by exposing what he saw as a dangerous deception. He's not trying to destroy Jeff, the source said. He's trying to stop something he thinks is wrong. When pressed on what exactly he meant, the source refused to elaborate, only saying that there's more to the story than anyone knows. Still, the public remained divided. Some saw Musk as a provocateur using his influence to humiliate a rival and take down a woman who had done nothing to deserve it. Others hailed him as a truth-teller willing to speak out, even when it meant making enemies of the most powerful people on Earth. Meanwhile, the rumor mill kept churning, and the theories kept multiplying. Some believed the tweet was part of a larger strategy to discredit Bezos before a major Blue Origin contract was finalized. Others insisted it was personal, that Musk had been slighted by Sanchez at a private event and was now exacting revenge. Whatever the motive, the effect was undeniable. A once private relationship had become global entertainment, dissected by influencers, discussed on late-night talk shows, and debated endlessly across the internet. Even politicians began weighing in. One congresswoman tweeted that the whole situation revealed how out of touch the billionaire class was, spending their time on personal feuds while ordinary Americans struggled to pay rent. The backlash wasn't just social, it was political. Bezos found himself being questioned in closed-door meetings about whether any of the rumors could compromise his business ventures or put his companies at regulatory risk. He denied everything, of course, but the scrutiny was intensifying and the walls felt like they were closing in for Lauren. The pressure was equally brutal, with online trolls attacking her appearance, her past relationships, and even her parenting. She had gone from fashion icon to tabloid target almost overnight, and the emotional toll was mounting. One friend said she was considering leaving the country for a while just to escape the media frenzy and regain some sense of normalcy. Others close to her said she was determined to stay and fight back, to reclaim her narrative and prove that whatever past she had didn't define her future. All the while, Elon Musk remained the ghost at the center of the storm. His tweets still pinned to his timeline, still unexplained, still unanswered, and still fueling a scandal that was nowhere near finished. As whispers turned into investigations and headlines turned into legal threats, the tension between Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez became impossible to ignore. Sources close to Bezos revealed that while he appeared calm in public, behind closed doors, he was unraveling, one moment consumed with doubt and the next preparing for a media war. He no longer felt in control of. Insiders said he quietly began limiting Lauren's access to key business conversations, excluding her from Blue Origin and Amazon strategy briefings while her team pushed a graceful image of strength. Bezos' team moved to distance his brand, appearing separately at events and avoiding any public show of unity. Then came a leaked data from over a decade ago between Sanchez and a media executive, hinting she had actively shaped her public image far more than previously known. The leak wasn't criminal, but it ignited suspicion and reignited the quiet feud between Bezos and Elon Musk, who tweeted truth always floats to surface with no further comment, triggering an internet frenzy. Users scoured interviews, connections, and timelines linking Sanchez to controversial international figures, including a tech billionaire in Dubai and an investment firm once probed for money laundering. No charges were filed, but the associations deepened public doubt. As the story spiraled, Sanchez reportedly went off the grid, relocating to a heavily secured estate outside Los Angeles with surveillance and biometric locks. Security rumored to be arranged not by Bezos but by someone from her past. Meanwhile, Bezos sought counsel from trusted advisors, prepping for a possible separation. Lawyers on both sides started laying groundwork, dividing assets, events, and properties. Not a legal divorce yet, but a logistical one. But then another blow landed. A former friend of Sanchez said on a podcast that Lauren once joked about knowing where all the bodies were buried, suggesting she held compromat more than some intelligence. Agencies the comment may have been a joke, but it fueled the narrative. And tabloids exploded. Musk added fuel by tweeting vague reflections about loyalty and truth, refusing to clarify while remaining publicly unbothered. Some insiders believed he had already won, having damaged Bezos' relationship and gained psychological leverage. Others thought he was baiting Bezos into striking back. Either way, the scandal now engulfed not just two people but the image of the billionaire class itself, exposing cracks beneath power, wealth, and curated love. And yet through all of this, one question echoed louder than the rest. What was Lauren Sánchez truly hiding, and was it something even Elon Musk feared enough to only hint at? Never say. As the scandal deepened into its fourth week, a strange stillness settled over the once glamorous image of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. Their social media went dark, their public appearances vanished, and their inner circles fell silent. Insiders described the mood within Bezos camp as tense, focused, and merely paranoid. Bezos was no longer asking what happened, but what was still coming. And that shift triggered a ripple effect across Amazon Blue Origin and his philanthropic arms. He quietly ordered background checks on several past associates of Sanchez, especially from her early Los Angeles days. And one name caught investigators' attention: a nightclub owner turned media consultant, linked to political donors and foreign nationals under fraud investigations. While no direct wrongdoing tied Sanchez to this figure, the fact that she attended private events with him and kept in contact raised serious questions, particularly because Bezos and his legal team had never been informed about any of it. Meanwhile, Sanchez insisted she had nothing to hide. Sources close to her said she was furious not at Musk but at Bezos, accusing him of abandoning her out of fear. Their conversations reportedly became cold, brief, and emotionally disconnected. As Bezos crunched numbers, Sanchez pleaded for compassion and got none as their relationship crumbled. The media closed, and outlets once wary of reporting on the elite now published exposes, quoting anonymous friends and insiders. Some cast Sanchez as a calculating mastermind, others framed her as a scapegoat for a collapsing billionaire ecosystem. One article went viral for asking whether the backlash was truly about truth or simply discomfort with a powerful woman being slowly removed from a male-dominated world piece by piece. But while the public debated, Bezos moved to protect what mattered most: his reputation, his empire, and his legacy, hiring a top crisis firm known for handling global political disasters and brand rehabilitations. This was no longer about love, it was about corporate survival. Yet Bezos remained silent, issuing no statements, no interviews, no messages, letting speculation run unchecked as every tweet, headline, and rumor filled the void. Meanwhile, Elon Musk leaned into the chaos, posting vague literary quotes about betrayal and truth, never naming names, but always staying relevant. When asked about it in a rare interview, Musk smirked and said, "Sometimes you have to light a fire to see who runs from it," a line that some took as a confession, others saw as performance art. Either way, it ensured he stayed at the center of the storm while claiming to expose corruption and secrecy in elite circles. Ironically, it was a billionaire with his own controversies, casting himself as the truth teller while dragging others down in this murky war of narratives. No one came out looking clean, not Bezos, not Sanchez, not Musk, but the world watched anyway, addicted to each twist, each theory, each whisper gaining momentum. One growing theory suggested that the real target was Bezos himself, with Sanchez as a convenient entry point. Some speculated Musk had access to private intelligence through means the public couldn't imagine. Others believed someone within Bezos' team was leaking intel to competitors for leverage. Whatever the truth, the fallout became very real. Regulators, investors, and even Congress began taking notice. One Senate subcommittee quietly requested records of Bezos' affiliations, including meetings with defense leaders and contractors, not because of the scandal itself, but because of the attention it attracted and the broader implications for national interest. At the same time, Blue Origin reported testing delays, with staff citing leadership distractions and low morale as contributing factors. The scandal had crossed from personal to professional, staining every part of Bezos' identity. Even his charitable work was under fire, as critics argued his image as a generous billionaire was now eclipsed by secrets, shadows, and silence. While Bezos battled brand damage, Sanchez faced a different war. Public opinion sources said she was suffering anxiety, sleepless nights, debating whether to reclaim her narrative through a tell-all interview or memoir, but afraid of legal consequences. She reportedly met with documentary producers, with one insider saying it was part survival, part revenge, though nothing had been finalized. And for now, her story remained unofficial, shaped instead by old photos, resurfaced clips, and online commentary that reassembled her life piece by piece. And yet, through all the chaos, one thing had never changed: the original tweet from Elon Musk still lives, still vague, still echoing through the digital void. And still sending aftershocks through a scandal that had gone from whispers to war with no end in sight. As the days blurred into weeks and the noise of the scandal slowly began to fade, what remained was not a resolution, but an unsettling silence, a void filled with unanswered questions, abandoned theories, and reputations scarred beyond repair. The frenzy that once consumed headlines, timelines, and boardrooms was now replaced by a strange calm that felt more like a pause before the next explosion than the end of a storm for Jeff Bezos. The damage was both measurable and intangible. In financial terms, his companies remained intact, his assets untouched. But his image, the carefully cultivated persona of the genius builder, the unshakable innovator, the man who turned an online bookstore into a global empire, had taken a hit, one that could not be quantified on a spreadsheet. His trust in those closest to him was fractured, his inner circle had been shaken, and despite all his power, preparation, and intelligence, he had been caught off guard, exposed and vulnerable in a way he never imagined possible. While his PR team quietly began pushing stories about new Blue Origin launches and philanthropic efforts designed to shift the conversation back to space and science, insiders say Bezos himself had become more reserved, more guarded, and far less trusting than ever before behind closed doors. He was said to be reassessing not only his personal relationships but the very philosophy that had guided his public and private life for decades, a life built on control, discretion, and an unyielding drive to stay 10 steps ahead, now haunted by the realization that even the most powerful man in the world can be undone by a single sentence, a single tweet, a single secret. Meanwhile, Lauren Sánchez, who had once been celebrated as a glamorous partner, a modern muse, and a woman defying ageist expectations, had been recast by the scandal as an enigma, a woman whose past had been examined, dissected, and judged by a public eager to find meaning in whispers. Her silence, which once signaled strength and poise, now carried a different weight, a question mark hanging over every public appearance, every Instagram post, every carefully chosen word from her representatives. Insiders say she considered walking away from the spotlight entirely, disappearing to a private island or retreating into anonymity, but ultimately chose to remain, not for fame or attention but for the simple fact that disappearing would be seen as admission of guilt, and she believed she had done nothing wrong. She refused to be erased by a scandal she did not start and would not let a man, no matter how powerful, define the legacy she would leave behind. Quietly, she began rebuilding, not with bold headlines but through measured moves, launching a private foundation focused on women in aviation and investing in educational media projects aimed at empowering young girls. Her public appearances returned slowly, strategically, with one friend describing her comeback as less about redemption and more about reclamation, reclaiming her name, her voice, and the version of her story that only she could tell. And yet, through it all, through the chaos, heartbreak, betrayal, and whispered secrets, one figure remained strangely untouched. Elon Musk, the man who had lit the match and watched the blaze unfold, never clarified his role, never explained his motives, and never apologized. In fact, he seemed to grow stronger, more mythologized, more unpredictable with each passing day. To some, he had become a digital prophet, a billionaire truth-teller willing to risk everything to speak what others feared to say. To others, he was a chaos merchant, reckless and dangerous, playing games with people's lives for amusement or power. But no matter the opinion, what remained undeniable was the effect he had. With one cryptic tweet, he had upended the personal and professional lives of two of the most watched people on Earth, and walked away with his influence intact, if not amplified. But behind the scenes, sources say even Musk had not emerged unscathed. Privately, he had been warned by advisors to stop escalating the feud, to let the story die, and focus on ventures that actually advanced his companies, his AI research, space exploration, and automotive projects, all of which had begun showing strain under the weight of his unpredictable behavior. Some say he listened, others say he merely paused, biding time until the next moment he decided to disrupt the balance of power again, because in the world Musk inhabits, rules are suggestions, silence is strategy, and timing is everything. And so the scandal ends not with a courtroom verdict or a confession, but with a shifting of power perceptions and purpose. What began as a cryptic message became a mirror held up to the billionaire class, a reflection of how fragile empires can be when trust erodes, when secrets rise, and when narratives slip beyond control. The public may never know what truly happened, what Lauren Sánchez did or didn't hide, what Jeff Bezos knew or failed to ask, or what Elon Musk hoped to gain or prove. But the impact is permanent, a reminder that in the rarefied air of the ultra-rich, every relationship is a risk, every secret is a liability, and every tweet has the power to change everything forever. Some wounds heal, some reputations recover, But some truths once released, no matter how incomplete or uncertain, can never be taken back. And so we close this chapter not with clarity but with consequence, not with justice but with the weight of what was revealed and what was lost in its wake. If you were riveted by this 5-part deep dive, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments what you believe was the real motive behind this billionaire unraveling. Was Musk revealing the truth, or just playing God with other people's lives? And should Bezos have seen this coming? Or was he just another man blinded by love and caught in a game only one person knew the rules? Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more unfiltered stories from the top that no one else dares to tell. This video covers legal allegations in a news context. All claims are from official filings and no guilt is implied until proven in court. Please keep all discussions respectful. Allegations are not facts until proven in court.